Okay, folks, everybody back in your seats because we are going to begin with our ceremonies. The rain hasn't let up any, so by the time we get this done, which will be about 45 minutes to an hour from now, get your umbrellas out. I sound like a weatherman, don't I? The hell with all of them. They messed us up big time. Before I introduce Madam President, I do want to call your attention to a couple of very special guests. As some of you may, and many of you may not know, the plaques that we have here for the Springfield Sports Hall of Fame are on exhibit at the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. They house all of what we do out here at Springfield. And as you all know, Missouri Sports Hall of Fame is out there adjacent to Highland Springs, a wonderful organization. And it's always a pleasure to have their executive director, although I think it's fair to call him, it's going to kick my behind, a lame duck, since he's going to retire in July, at least he says he is. If you will, welcome Gerald Andrews here tonight. Gerald, if you will, stand up, sir. There he is. Also in attendance tonight is a gentleman who is one of our personal all-time favorites, and really an all-time favorite for all of you in this room. He just had the other day, and I think it was October 15th, if I'm not mistaken, birthday number 100. He is an honored United States veteran from the Coast Guard, took part in the D-Day invasion, is a hero. He's a winner of the French Legion of Honor, the highest honor that can be given. We're so proud to have him here tonight. Give a big welcome to Jackie Hamlin. Jack, if you will, stand up, buddy. There he is, right over there. Jack Hamlin, folks. That, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the all-time greats right there, and still going strong. That is what it is all about. Well, for the last 3.5 and completing her 4th year as our boss is the president of the Springfield Sports Hall of Fame, a young lady who, I don't know how she does it, in all honesty. She's not only a You're going to love this. Not only a school marm, but she is also the director of our Hall of Fame and the director of CHAMPS, which is a special organization. She is also a board member of the Missouri Coaches Association, Basketball Coaches Association. She just does everything. She never has time to sit down, except for now when she's eating her meal. If you will, give a big welcome to our board president, and this will be her final year, she says. Here's Jenny Hopkins, folks. Jenny right here.
Thank you, Ned. Hi, good evening. I'm Jenny Hopkins. Yes, I have been president of this board for over 4 years, but this is an easy board to lead because they do all the work. So I just get to smile and say, do this, do this, do this, and they are tremendous. And we have a wonderful evening planned for you tonight. I mean, look at these wonderful inductees. This is going to be a party. And I expect you to make some noise tonight and have some fun recognizing these inductees. We're going to have a lot of fun. Now, there is a part of my speech where I'm supposed to thank our board of directors. And I don't want to supposed to thank them. That's just, it's not a participation ribbon, right? This is a championship board, so I am not thanking them because I am supposed to thank them. This board is a tremendous asset to our sports community. It is a who's list of people that have dove in each month on our meetings, and they do the very, very best to make sure that we have a diligent system on picking our inductees to recognize. But that's not the best part. The best part is they are all volunteers, and everything that we raise goes to our nonprofit youth organizations so that we may support with sports equipment, sports opportunities, the next generation of Hall of Famers. So right now, I would like to give a championship shout out to our board members. If they would all please stand and remain standing for a moment so people can look around and see you and find them tonight and tell them thank you for all of the work that they put in. Please stand. We would not be able to put on an event like this and have this banquet if we did not have a presenting sponsor. The presenting sponsor drives this banquet and drives this event, and in turn drives our organization. We have a tremendous partnership with the Cook Family Foundation, and we're very grateful for everything that they have provided for us and for steering this event. And I would like to recognize at this time, you will meet here shortly, but I would like to recognize their executive director. If she would please stand. Faith Geed is with us. Okay, be honest, raise your hand. You're coming to a banquet. You were expecting rubber chicken, weren't you? Right? No, you got surf and turf. Because at the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame, we don't mess around when it comes to food. You're going to get a great meal. And I want to thank the Oasis Hotel and Convention Center, in particular, Emily Smith, who's running around here somewhere. She has done a tremendous job, so thank you to the Oasis. Let's show some appreciations to the chefs. You will also notice that we have some more cameras this time. We are being broadcast by Mediacom. So if everyone would take a moment and turn and look at that wall and wave and say, thank you, Corey Riggs. He is out in the truck producing this, and we appreciate him very much. So there's your crowd shot, Corey Riggs. And he is the one I will be passing the torch to in January and is our president-elect. So please give a round of applause to his crew from Mediacom. I would also like to thank all of the youth organizations for being here tonight. You're going to meet them a little bit later. But I also want to thank the sponsors that give generously so that they may have their tables and that they are welcome tonight. Our first sponsor for that is this guy right here, Ned Reynolds. So let's recognize him. Nikki Holden and Joe Latomsky are also sponsors. And the company Springfield Yard Cards for your personalized celebration in your own front yard. They are also sponsors. I also want to welcome again our past inductees. You are the heart and soul of our organization, and we are so grateful that you all are here tonight. We want to thank Blasey Properties and the Oasis for being our legend sponsor. So thank you very much for that. And you all, the friends, the family members, the supporters that are here to witness the induction of this talented group. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. We appreciate that so much. And we want to move forward in the induction ceremony. We have an incredible talent in basketball, a remarkable track and field mind, a world-traveling tennis pro, an iconic and legendary softball coach, and a championship-inspiring football coach, with a stellar era of excellence of basketball from Missouri State University. I want to congratulate personally Anthony Tolliver, Don Keaton, Gene Larrick, Ed Bramer, and Jesse Branch, along with the Missouri State 1952 to 1954 men's basketball era. You enjoy this evening and take a deep breath and soak this in. This is a wonderful moment for you all, and I appreciate it. Enjoy that. And thank you all so much for being here tonight and joining us in this celebration. And I would now like to introduce to present the Bonus Frost Founders Scholarship Award, Don West.
Thanks, Jenny. Good evening. The Bonus Frost Scholarships were started 3 years ago. This is the third year that we have done this, and it is to recognize athletic excellence in our local community and give out some scholarship money to some very deserving kids. These students had to write an essay and state kind of why they were deserving of this scholarship, and then one male and one female is picked by a committee of our board of directors to award these scholarships. The recipients are not here tonight. They received their money in May, and they are both away and spending it very, very well. So we just want to tell you a little bit about them this evening. The first of our Bonus Frost Founders Scholarship winners is Michaela McVeigh of Walnut Grove High School. Michaela was a two-sport athlete who also graduated as a valedictorian of her class with a 4.0 GPA. In basketball, she led her team to 2 state titles and 2 other Final Fours, earning all state honors her junior and senior seasons. In softball, she was All-State and led her team to a district title in 2019. She was active in FFA, FBLA, FCCLA, and FCA, serving in leadership positions. She was a member of the National Honor Society, Student Council, and the academic team, and is also a certified USSSA umpire. In her essay, she says, "My experiences have helped me grow and change as a person. Where I might have once shied away from a challenge, I now have the strength to face it head on." Michaela is attending Evangel University to play basketball. Michaela McVeigh of Walnut Grove. Our other Bonus Frost Founder Scholarship winner is Tristan Voss of Logan Rogersville High School. Tristan was active in football, basketball, baseball, and wrestling. He was a member of FCA, FBLA, and served as a Sunday school teacher at his church and volunteered in youth sports, working football and basketball camps. In his essay, he says, "I love all sports, especially football. I not only love the game itself, but I was blessed with great coaches who have taught me values that shaped me into the adult that I am today." Tristan is attending Northwestern College in Orange City, Iowa to play football. Tristan Voss of Logan Rogersville High School. We have David Frost, now a member of our board of directors, back here behind this camera. David, if you would stand or wave or whatever you'd like to do. Bonus's son, David Frost, representing the Frost family. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Don. This organization went through something of a crisis, as a lot of you and many businesses and organizations did this past 2 years. We normally have one of these events, one per year. 1987 is when we began, and it has really served its purpose. But this year, well, in 2020, we had to postpone the event. So this is the second of the events we've had this year. The first one was in May, in which we took in the 2020 inductees, and the October event, the one you're attending tonight, is the event for 2021. Hopefully, this won't happen again. But running into a circumstance like this presents, you gotta face the facts, gang, financial problems. How are we going to handle two in 1 year? Can it be done? Well, I think I'm fair in saying there was, among us board members, a spirited debate, one way or the other. But the spirit won out, and we did get the two, and this is number two. But it doesn't happen unless we have a key presenting sponsor. And we do have that with the Cook Family Foundation. Came to the rescue. We're not the only ones. The Cook family is so generous with everything that they've done that they do sponsor other organizations as well. But one of them, thank goodness, is the Springfield Sports Hall of Fame. And I want you to meet the young lady now who is representing the Cook Family Foundation, because she is their director, she's their boss, and she is the individual who really makes it go. And she's right over here. Faith, if you will. This is Faith Geed, folks. Faith, thank you very much for being here tonight.
Thank you, Ned. Thank you so much. Well, good evening. I appreciate everyone being out here tonight, and we are happy. COVID's been crazy. I'm excited to see a full room. We're here tonight. We're celebrating the current inductees, past inductees, supporting nonprofits, and future is bright for so many young athletes. I have the honor and privilege to serve as the executive director of the Cook Family Foundation, and it was started by Jerry Cook in 2018 with Lauren Cook Company. And since that time, we have partnered with over 100 organizations, and I am super proud to say that we're here tonight to support this organization, and we've done it twice in 1 year. And we're happy to continue to do that. And well, like I said, we started in 2018, and our mission is very, very simple: to help those who do good, to help them do more good. It's that simple. And so basically what you all are doing is great. We want to give back, we enjoy the partnership, and we're excited to keep this partnership going. So I'm excited to be here tonight. Thank you so much.
They do such a wonderful job, and the Cook family, if you'll allow me for a second or two, a personal story, because one day, and I guess it was about 20 or 25 years ago, the Cook Family Foundation's insurance chief was here from Cleveland, Ohio, to make a presentation and to do some insurance work for the Cook family, which is Lauren Cook family. You know all about the organization out in North Springfield. Now, Mr. Cook called me on the phone and said, hey, you're a sports announcer. Have you ever heard of an old Cleveland Browns player named Lou Groza? Well, hell, I'm an old man. You're doggone right I've heard of Lou Groza. For heaven's sake, Lou the Toe? Why are you asking me this? Because he's sitting in my office. Do you want to interview him? Be right out, sir, right? So that's how far back the Cook family goes, and they do a very special job. This is the nostalgic time, and it'll be not very lengthy at all, but the nostalgic time of our presentation tonight. This is the time in which we honor and remember the individuals who've had a major impact on all of us. And this particular individual has had a major impact on all of us, both as a coach and a teacher and just as a friend, because he was very, very much a part of our lives. But I'm going to introduce to you someone who had a more close impact than we, and that's the young man's daughter.
Well, it's a traditional part of our program to recognize past inductees of Hall of Fame that are no longer with us, and tonight's no exception. On July 22nd, 2021, we lost a great sports legend and presence. We lost a football player, a track athlete, a handball coach, a friend, a family man, and the best dad I could ever ask for. We lost Dr. Tommy Burnett. He was in 7 halls of fame, but he was very proud to be in this Hall of Fame because of its mission to help youth organizations. He was a proud member, and he was always here to support. Our family thanks this hall for recognizing him as a class member of 2004, and we are grateful for honoring him tonight. Thank you, Dr. Tommy Burnett, for all your sports contributions and for the impact on the many lives that you had. Your legacy will live on. Thank you again for being my dad. I only have 2 more words left. And my champion. Now, please draw your attention to the video screens. Each year, the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame pays tribute to those members who have passed away since the time of our last banquet. On July 22nd, the Springfield sports community lost Dr. Tommy Burnett. Originally from Smackover, Arkansas, Tommy became a big-time wide receiver and sprinter, joining his brother Bobby as an Arkansas Razorback and winning a football national championship in 1964. He went on to the NFL and was a part of the New York Jets' victory in Super Bowl III. After football, he found his way to Missouri State University and started there in 1972, and he was head of the Department of PE, Recreation, and Leisure Studies for over 29 years. He founded the Missouri State handball team in 1987 and led that program to 15 national team championships, 16 women's championships, and 8 men's titles. He was a member of 7 Halls of Fame, and tonight, the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame salutes the memory of 2004 inductee Dr. Tommy Burnett.
Jenny, I can promise you that those of us who are of faith, and while you don't necessarily, like Ned Reynolds, have to be an overly religious person, which I am not, but that everlasting spirit lives on, and Dr. Burnett is watching over all of this tonight and giving his nod of approval, I assure you. As you all know, the Springfield Sports Hall of Fame is a charity, and this is all a ticket write-off and all that sort of thing, but it's a special charity because it does give finances to area youth organizations to buy the necessary sports equipment. So, as Jenny told you earlier, we can produce our share of champions down here. The individual who is so very much a part of this, and the guy who really takes care of all of the financial aspects of this, is our partner, Jerry Lee, who is a member of the board of directors. Jerry, if you will, come on up here. Jerry's going to explain to you very much how this works, how the money is distributed, and how much we have done. If you will, welcome Jerry Lee, folks, right here.
Appreciate that. It's my honor to be here. It's also my honor to serve as the Youth Committee Chair for the Hall of Fame. I certainly want to congratulate all of the inductees tonight. Job well done, well deserved to do that. As many of you know, the Sports Hall of Fame mission is twofold. One, to recognize the individuals here tonight at the dais, and also to provide sports equipment for youth agencies in our community. And this is all made possible by your support, by attending this banquet, and to our incredible sponsors. Thank you for that. Special thanks to those that helped sponsor the youth agency tables to allow not only just the agencies to be here, but a lot of the youth that are recipients of the sports equipment that we provide are here tonight, and we want to recognize them. Some of you may know it's been since 1987, we've raised little less than $500,000 for sports equipment for kids in Springfield. And so that wouldn't happen without these incredible youth agency partners that we have. These agencies serve thousands of youth in our community in a variety of ways. The last 18 months has been somewhat trying to be able to provide those programs that they have done for years and years. But I can tell you, they stepped up, met the challenge, and have been able to provide services to these kids in our community. And at this time, I'd like to recognize each of these 12 agencies, present them with a ceremonial check, and help them serve in the community. And I can tell you, this is my favorite part of the whole thing, is giving away money. So when you're introduced, if a group would please stand up and be recognized. I'll say a little bit about them, and then if you'd kind of stage left, I guess, whichever way that is. I'm not a theater person, so I'm not sure which way it's over here. And so if you would just make your way over there, and don't be alarmed if I start introducing the next group too. So we'll make this thing go, and we'll get to the other part. First one to recognize is a Sporting Chance. Their mission is to give a sporting chance to any person with any disability, youth who are disadvantaged, abused, and neglected children, at-risk teenagers, and senior citizens, by developing and providing amateur sports training, competition, and recreational programs. Any person with any disability or youth who are disadvantaged can participate in their programs that's offered by Sporting Chance. And these athletes ranged from 3 years to older. There's no age limit. They serve over 1,200 kids in 26 counties in southwest Missouri. Sporting Chance. Children's Miracle Network. And I don't think they're here, but I do want to recognize them. Children's Miracle Network hospitals at Cox Health provide support for over 1,200 local children, ages birth to 18. Children from the Ozarks are helped with travel assistance, hospital bills, and other special needs. Cox Miracle Network, or Children's Miracle Network. Next is Salvation Army. There they are back there. Salvation Army. The Salvation Army provides a wide array of social service assistance programs for numerous residents in Christian and Greene County. Available assistance includes food pantry, housing and shelter programs, community center programs for children and senior citizens, daily feeding programs, disaster services, worship and spiritual counseling. They serve several hundred kids each year. I know I've coached a whole lot of basketball games in their facility over there, and they just provide some great service. Salvation Army. Next is the Grant Beach Neighborhood Association, and we got a bunch of them. Fantastic. The Grant Beach Neighborhood Association provides youth sports programs including baseball, soccer, and basketball. They serve around 800 kids each year in their neighborhood area. Grant Beach Neighborhood Association. Springfield Greene County Park Board. And there she is. There's Kim. The Springfield Greene County Park Board strives to provide the very best in parks and recreation facilities, programs, events, and services to our community, including softball, baseball, soccer, hockey, tennis, volleyball, basketball, golf, name it, it's a sport, they do it. They've made a tremendously positive impact on the overall quality of life, health, environment, social, and economic aspects to our families and our visitors. Park Board serves over 10,000 kids a year, ranging from 3 years to 18 years. Springfield Greene County Park Board. Community Sports Development Program. Where's Lori? I know they're here somewhere. Oh, she's helping. Okay, there she is. Established in 2003 as part of the U.S. Olympic Committee, the Greater Springfield Community Sports Development Program provides training and development to about 5,000 athletes a year in the sports of archery, ice hockey, tennis, and volleyball. It's administered through a partnership with the Springfield Greene County Park Board, which provides coaches, equipment, and facilities. Community Sports Development Program. Springfield Public School Foundation and Springfield Public Schools. Oh, there they are. They're over here. The Foundation for Springfield Public Schools began in 1990 to provide financial resources for educational enrichment beyond the daily operational needs of the school district that serves 25,000 kids. Their mission is to raise, manage, and distribute private investment to benefit the students of Springfield Public Schools. Springfield Public School Foundation. Champion athletes. There they are, back in the corner. Champion Athletes of the Ozarks serves over 500 children and adults with disabilities living in the Ozark area. Through sports training and competition, they are building self-esteem, self-confidence, and social skills. They create a positive atmosphere by teaching decision-making skills, team skills, appropriate behaviors, and the feeling of success. The experiences and skills gained through Champion Athletes of the Ozarks help build the skills necessary to each of the athletes to progress toward normal living. Champion Athletes. Boy Scouts. They're back there in the corner. The Ozark Trail Council of Boy Scouts of America serves over 7,000 boys and girls in 26 counties in Missouri and 3 counties in Kansas to prepare these young people to make moral and ethical decisions over their lifetime by instilling in them the values of the scouting oath and law. Boy Scouts. Girl Scouts. Yeah. Get them all. Okay. They are the preeminent leadership development organization for girls. And with programs from coast to coast and across the globe, Girl Scouts offers every girl a chance to practice a lifetime of leadership, adventure, and success. They are here to build girls with courage, confidence, and character who can make the world a better place. The Girl Scouts of Missouri Heartland has over 1,200 girls participating in their programs. Girl Scouts. Great Circle. There they are. Great Circle. Great Circle inspires life-changing hope and healing so that all children, families, and communities can thrive. Through courageous leadership and an unwavering commitment to provide exceptional care, they build a network of partners with a shared vision of improving access to services and achieving greater collective impact for the people and communities they serve. And that includes some 200 6 to 18-year-old kids every year. Great Circle. Last but not least, Boys and Girls Club. Since 1938, Boys and Girls Club of Springfield has served as a safe haven for area youth, a place where fond memories and lasting friendships are made. That's where I started playing basketball in the 5th grade, was a boys' club. Not very well, but I played. They work every day to create a safe, fun environment where over 2,500 kids each year can pursue academic success, good character, citizenship, athletic skills, and a healthy lifestyle. Boys and Girls Club. As you can tell, your support of the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame allows opportunity for thousands of kids in our community to participate in athletics that may not be able to otherwise. Once again, please help me thank all of the 12 great youth agencies for what they do to serve our community and our youth.
Jerry, you do such a great job too, and thank you very, very much for all your dedication. One more round of applause for Jerry Lee, folks. Not only with us, but with the Springfield Board of Education, helping them out as well. Before we begin our introductions, we're going to give the official now governmental blessing to this circumstance. Rusty, if you will come on up here. I don't know how this guy does it. He's a member of the he's one of three Greene County commissioners on their board. But my gosh, he's out building houses and doing all sorts of creativity, but he's not an individual who doesn't have some kind of a knowledge of sports, because he played football at Kickapoo, played a little bit at Central Missouri, and maybe on one of the teams that the Bears probably shellacked. Anyway, that's beside the point. If you will, welcome Commissioner Rusty McLaughlin right here. Russ, if you will.
Thank you, Ned. Thank you. Presenting proclamations is probably the only way I make it up on this stage. So thank you for that opportunity. It is a great pleasure and an honor for the Greene County Commission. I'm also been asked to represent the city of Springfield and the city council. It's an honor to present and recognize the folks here and the accomplishments they've done. We have the documents displayed out here by their plaques. And it's my privilege to represent, as I said, both council and commission in congratulating this year's inductees, thanking them for their service, dedication, and commitment to excellence. Council and commission also offer our sincere appreciation to the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame and all that you do for the youth in our community. So thank you all very much. Yep.
Rusty McLaughlin, folks. Now we have arrived at the time of our program when we are going to begin with the introductions. And the first one on the list is the gentleman who is sitting to my right, your left, as we start, Don Keaton, who is, among other things, a member of our Springfield Sports Hall of Fame board, and a very active member indeed. But prior to that, my goodness sake, a coach, an athlete, a gentleman who has absolutely devoted his very being to the world of athletics and the world of betterment to all of the youth. Now, folks, if you will, I want to call your attention to the screens that surround the area. Here is the story of Don Keaton.
From the middle school, high school, and collegiate levels, Don Keaton has had a profound impact and influence on student athletes for more than 50 years as a track and cross-country coach. A Springfield native, Keaton is a graduate of Pipkin Junior High, Central High School, and the University of Missouri, and was active in football and track on the scholastic level. He set a school record in winning the state title in the 880-yard run at Central and set an indoor state record in the 880. He was a track participant for 4 years at Mizzou and graduated with honors from both Central and MU. He returned to Springfield and coached junior high track for 8 years and was Parkview's track and field coach for 31 seasons. He coached teams to 3 junior high football titles, 3 7th grade basketball titles, and 4 city track championships. He had 54 athletes claim all-state track honors at Parkview. His Parkview boys teams won 5 Ozark Conference crowns, and his girls teams won 5 straight league titles. Among the outstanding Parkview athletes he coached were Prep All-Americans Bill Jasinski and Charles Tharp in the high jump, middle distance runner Billy Rainey, and hurdler Tracy Partain.
He was such a positive influence he was always one of those coaches that I don't ever remember him really yelling or getting on to anyone. He kind of was really great at laughing things off. I mean, I probably was one of the more difficult cases that he had. I was kind of crazy when I was younger, but he dealt with me very, very well. He always smiled at me. So when my kids give me a hard time, sometimes it's just like, just smile it off. Like, it's okay. Like, just keep a smile on your face and things will work out. He just was that positive coach for me, for sure.
He retired from the public schools in 2008 and began the track program at Drury University, producing national qualifiers Troy Groover and Emily Gray in the high jump and Aaron Dolan in the 10,000 meters. Keaton left Drury in 2015 and went to Kickapoo, where he coached state champion Allison Bailey in the 800 meters and 300-meter hurdle state champion Jaden Wiley. Even after a half a century, his work continues today as Keaton guides the track and field program at Greenwood. It has been a career that has spanned multiple levels, more than 5 decades, and it's still going. And tonight, his work and dedication to the thousands of student athletes he has guided is honored with enshrinement into the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame. Don Keaton.
Boy, that was quite a video. You know what, candy is really sweet. But you know what is sweeter? Being inducted into the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame with this great group of people. And as somebody else mentioned, this event raises money for other organizations and to meet their needs and help our kids in our community, and that's awesome. There's a lot of people that I need to thank. I'm not going to mention everyone, there are just too many, but I will mention some. I'd like to thank the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame Committee, especially Lynn Miller, for selecting me for this fantastic honor. A special thanks to my wife who's watching from above. She supported me, the athletes, and the parents of the athletes like no other. There were years that we would honor athletes on a weekly basis for their performance and their work. And one thing she used to do was bake chocolate chip cookies. And the athletes really looked forward to these cookies, and that was the award to these athletes. I'd like to thank my son, Chris. Being a coach's son isn't always easy. And I know when he was part of the team, other athletes would come to him and ask questions. Why and what are we doing? So he always had an explanation for handling that situation. I'd like to thank childhood friends, that goes way back, for all the tag and the hide and seek games. Those involve agility and they involve sprinting, and they just helped me as an athlete later, and they also helped in my ideas as a coach. I'd like to thank another gentleman. He couldn't come tonight. He had his COVID booster yesterday, and he had a reaction today. That was Earl Coleman. Our friendship started in the 3rd grade at Campbell, and he's been a supporter of me and the teams and so forth through several years, throughout the years for that matter. I'd like to thank my nephew, Louis Bunch, for all the baseball play and for allowing me to beat him on the electric football game with my devised plays. I'd like to thank my parents, especially my mom. I'd like to thank my junior high coaches and high school coaches for their guidance. A special thank you to high school friends like Manny Oliver and the many people I played with on the football, basketball, and track teams. I'd like to thank Charlie Allen He's here tonight for sharing his athletic knowledge. And a big thank you to Kent Henry. I think he's over here. He jump-started me in 1969 at Pipkin. And then I'd also pass on a thank you to Wayne Keltner, who further helped me at Cherokee. I'd like to thank all the coaches that I worked with, all the coaches that I coached against, and all the coaches that I've known for 52 years. I always had a lot of praise for their wisdom, and their advice was always good, and so I thank you. I'd like to start, I would like to thank all the administrators like Dr. Etzel Matthews for the opportunities presented me. And I'd like to thank the media people like Ned Reynolds for recognizing athletes throughout the years. I don't know if she's here tonight, but I'd like to thank the booster parents like Rita Needham, and I think Laura Key and Brett Key were really instrumental. Those are just a few booster parents that helped support and the kids throughout the years. And I'd also like a big thank you to the people, and that's why I'm here. The athletes that I've had were just outstanding people. They were successful then, and they're successful now in life. Age range, 20s now to 60s, if you can kind of believe that. Would any athlete that I've come in contact with, that I've had the honor to coach, would you please stand? Thank you. These people and many, many more like them are the reason why I'm here. I've often been asked, how did I decide on a teaching, coaching career? In 1964, I was the state outdoor champ at 880 yards. I think they mentioned that. The following year, my senior year, I was a state indoor champ, and I set a new state indoor record in that event. During the season, I suffered a very severe hamstring injury, and it prevented me from defending my title my senior year. But I was given the task of helping a friend. His name is Troy Glasper. Troy was a really good 440-yard sprinter. He qualified to state that year, and he came to me one day in practice and he says, Don, how would you run this race if you were me at the state meet? And so I offered him suggestions. Of course, I didn't run the state meet, but I did go, and I watched Troy run his race. And it looked like he took my suggestions to heart. Troy finished 5th, and he was an all-state athlete. After the race, he came to me, and I could see how proud he was, how excited he was with what he had accomplished. I knew what he had done in practice, and I was extremely proud of him for his achievements. It was at that moment I knew what I wanted to do in life. I wanted to be a coach. And teaching and coaching is all about kids. And, you know, you give them a task, and they work through that task. They do it to the best of their ability. And you know, you get thrilled and excited for them as they get thrilled and excited. And so tonight, I am honored, and I humbly accept the induction into the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame with this great group of people. Thank you.
Now, while Don poses for the official photograph, he is the first of our inductees tonight, and a very honored one indeed. And again, that plaque will be out at the Springfield, the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame out by Highland Springs Country Club. Well done, Don. Congratulations. And you got out of here. Don Keaton, folks. After my personal alleged career of playing racquetball, I thought I was a pretty good player. but I couldn't beat any of the kids anymore, so I decided to take up another sport, tennis. And like all newcomers in a sport, I thought, I'm pretty good. Hit the ball over the net, trying to beat some of these people. Well, after about 3 or 4 months of playing and thinking I was pretty good, I decided it was time for a Missouri Valley Tennis Association ranking. And who is giving me my ranking? The professor over here. So, yeah, rating, not ranking. Rating is what it's called. And just so you can be clear, a rating of 7 is a touring pro, and it incrementally goes down from that 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, so forth and so on. 1 is pretty bad. So I get out there on the court, and there is Miss Larrick over there grading me, and I'm hitting the ball and slamming it and running around and looking like Roger Federer or Novak Djokovic, and bring them on. I'm ready for them. So the little test comes to an end after about 3 or 4 minutes, and I said, well, how'd I do, Gene? She said, well, you're coming on about a 1.5, somewhere around there. Deflated that ego so bad. Anyway, folks, if we will, let's take a look at the video of Gene Larrick.
Illinois native Gene Larrick has excelled as a tennis player, coach, teacher, and official in Springfield and nationally for over 60 years, including her current tenure as teaching professional and coach for the Springfield Greene County Park Board, a position that she has held since 1980. Still active as a competitive tennis player, Larrick has won over 200 championships in singles, doubles, and mixed doubles at national, sectional, regional, district, and local levels. She has 4 National Public Parks championships in age groups 25 to 55, has had top singles and doubles national rankings in the United States Tennis Association Missouri Valley section in age groups 25 to 65, and has worked as a coach and tournament director at various events. She is a certified USTA umpire and referee and has been for over 20 years. Her many awards include a USTA Heart of America District 1990 Community Service Award, USTA Missouri Valley District Outstanding Contributor, USTA League Program, and 2003 Perry Lifetime Achievement Award presented at the National Public Parks Tennis Championships. 2007 Women's Intersports Network Women's Senior Sports Award, 2016 USTA Missouri District Community Service Award, and 2020 USTA Missouri Valley Golden Star Award.
Probably out of everyone that's ever been teaching in Springfield, Missouri, or even some of the state of Missouri, has always been probably one of the best fundamental coaches of basic structure and skill that there's ever been. I can tell you that from personal hand. Meeting her at 12 years old, I actually looked to Gene and my brother, Tom Adams, but to Gene to guide me to always bring back my game at the top level when I was playing at all various levels through the national level.
She has taught or coached almost every high-ranking player through the youth program at Springfield's Cooper Tennis Complex and has coached and played on various USTA championship teams over many years. She played in college at Millikan and Missouri State University. She has also been a swimming and volleyball coach, physical education and adaptive physical education teacher with Springfield School District, and retired from Republic School District in 2009. She was a member of the 5-time Illinois Women's Fast Pitch State Softball Champions in the 1960s. And tonight, we welcome her to the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame, Gene Larrick.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ned. I loved it. How does anyone know a passion at 17 years old? You don't really know what it is. But when you're in college and you've been invited to try out for a ball girl, Althea Gibson, who'd won Wimbledon, U.S. Open French, I think doubles, but Anyway, I went home, tried out for a weekend, and she was going to put on a clinic the following week. I can't remember when it was, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But anyway, I was in college, and I had to hitchhike home. And I didn't know exactly how I was going to get home. My mother didn't know it until I called her when I ball girled that night. So anyway, I guess as Kyle and I talked, it was a passion that I've had for years and years and years. I'd like to thank the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame Committee for my induction in the class of 2021. I was just totally elated. Congratulations to all 21 inductees, Jesse, Don, Dan, Ed, and Anthony. I would like to thank Springfield Greene County Park Board for hiring and investing in me over the past 41 years. I want to thank especially Jody Adams and Dan Kenny for their vision and the future of tennis in Springfield. Thank you, Jody Adams, Bob Belote, he's not here tonight, Kim Reeser, Kyle Warwick, Mary Weber, and all the staff for the continued opportunity to further my teaching career with Springfield Greene County Park Board. I met my dear friend Jody Adams when 11 or 12 years old. The bond led us to play and win competitive National Parks, Missouri Valley sectional, which includes a 5-state area, and many other tournaments throughout the country. That bond continued in college at MSU or SMS, whatever which one, but it's SMS to me, and a short professional tennis career. Jody's influence continued as I became certified through the Tennis Professional Registry. Thank you, Jody, for the love and support over the years. I would also like to thank USTA National Office for giving me the opportunity to serve as National League verifier and serve on multiple national committees. I also need to acknowledge Missouri Valley Tennis Association for the opportunity as league coordinator. Life is a long, old, hard road, and I'm going to make it short. Maya Angelou's quote, "Life is an adventure," certainly sums up my philosophy of life. The passion for anything, music, sports, teaching, is a singular factor in my tennis odyssey. Tennis is in my DNA. My first mentor was my mother, Mildred Probst. She was the best beginning mentor that one could have. Mother singularly raised 5 children after the passing of my dad. My mother encouraged education, work, and sports, and in that order. She was very strict. Her credit, she raised 4 out of 5 children to acquire education. Even the one that didn't go to college was exceedingly successful in business. My brother Roger, who's deceased. My tennis career began at 10 in Decatur, Illinois Parks and Recreation Department, a national organization in Decatur Playtown, USA, and traveling tennis programs into city parks. My junior high PE teacher, she was huge in my life. Doris Spar, she's deceased, took upon herself to encourage a college education and to see myself as an educator. In 1979, I graduated from SMS with a degree in education. While at SMS, I played varsity tennis. Believe me, that was the most fun experience of my life. At this time, I'd like to introduce my family. My son, Michael, raised on a tennis court at an early age. He could and did coach me later on. Michael and his wife, Shelley, are the best thing that ever happened to me. At this time, I would like to introduce my family right here at this table here. I've got Mary, my sister-in-law, Kelly, niece, Roxy, my sister, Donna, my niece, Barb, Shelley, granddaughters, Caitlin and Mary Beth, and great-granddaughter, Monroe. Please stand. Without my family, this road wouldn't have been as smooth. I cannot say enough for the Springfield community and all that they do, and their support that allowed me to teach tennis, I don't know, 4,000, 29,000, I've had so many kids, adults, students, in the past 41 years, that equals to 4 generations. Thank you to all of my students, the ones who like me or dislike me. I appreciated the opportunity. Will all my students are here who are representing me tonight, and my right-hand man, student Michael Hahn, who is my right-hand man, please stand. Anywhere, everywhere. Thank you. Thank you for this lovely evening. I loved it. Thank you.
Family and friends, if you will, stand up while the picture's being taken for Jean. There we are. And we have officially recorded. Well done. Jean Larrick, folks. Give her a big round of applause. About a year and a half ago, Bill Rowe and I were approached by the brothers Bramer about their dad. Hey, Dad's not in any of these Hall of Fame. Oh, no, surely you're incorrect. Of course we have him in here. He's one of the founding fathers of softball in this whole area. Look back through the records, and sure enough, Ed Bramer was not in any of the Halls of Fame. Well, that is a major oversight on our part. But we did get it corrected this time because Ed Bramer, who really brought fast-pitch softball and softball in general into our focal point. My first year at KY3, which was 55 years ago, I was trying to acclimate myself to the city of Springfield. I drove down this Fremont Street. And back then, Fremont Street was in the country, folks. There was nothing, no Battlefield Mall, no nothing like that. I saw a baseball park. Well, this is just great. Drove in, there's a sign on the fence there. It was a cold February day, and it said, Meadow Park, site of the National Fast Pitch Softball Tournament. This is 1967. And I just got through seeing one of these things the year before when I was in the Navy in Florida at Clearwater. Surely this can't be the same thing. Was featuring the Clearwater Bombers. Their dad was primarily responsible, along with the park system, for bringing in softball as a big-time sport in this community. If you will, folks, watch the video for Ed Bramer.
Springfieldian Ed Bramer was an early giant on the local and state softball scene from 1945 to 1960. The softball teams he coached dominated city and state play. He coached men's teams and women's teams, as well as Kiwanis and American Legion baseball. He stressed discipline, fundamentals, and strategy. His 1946 Knights of Columbus team was the first Springfield team to win a state championship. They went on to win the Western Regionals, thereby qualifying to be the first Springfield team to play in the National Softball Tournament. His men's team won 10 state championships, won 2 regional championships, and played in 2 national tournaments, finishing 4th in 1948. They were invited to and played in 2 world championship tournaments. Bramer was selected best manager in the 1955 Western Regional. From 1955 to 59, Bramer also managed a women's team that won the state championship in each of those years. In 1955, Ed coached both men's and women's state champions. 7 players he coached in American Legion Baseball later signed professional contracts. He was inducted into the Springfield ASA Hall of Fame in 1966, and a field at Metter Sports Complex in Springfield bears his name. The success of his teams was key to the explosive growth of Springfield fast-pitch softball in the 1950s and for many years after that. This growth enabled Springfield to bid for and host state, regional, and eventually national tournaments, always drawing overflow crowds and creating financial success for local organizers and the city.
Ed Bramer devoted his life in helping the young boys be good ball players, be good citizens, and he always ended up winning the national championships, and he won all the tournaments that he'd ever played in.
During this period, the Springfield newspaper referred to him as Mr. Softball. We welcome Ed Bramer into the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame.
I'm going to look around at this crowd here. The last time I talked to this many people, I was in a church reading off a prepared script. But I want to take you back because this all happened so long ago. I want you to imagine the Springfield of 1945. Soldiers had just returned, young couples were starting families and buying homes. They'd survived the Great Depression and a terrible World War. Money was scarce and summer nights were hot. People were ready to have some fun and be with friends. This was the scene when our dad, Pat, and I, when I say we or ours, I'm referring to my brother because this is a speech we put together over a long period of time. This was the scene when our dad began his coaching career, and fast-pitch softball was about to give Springfield something to cheer about. Dad's accomplishments took place between 1940s, in the 40s into the 60s. If you witnessed them, you'd be in your 80s or 90s now. I'm almost 79 and Pat is 72. We were just kids then too, and so we didn't really realize what Dad was doing and what he was accomplishing, or that he was known as Springfield's Mr. Softball. Most of Dad's contemporaries are gone now. We waited till most of them had passed. We found one man who played for and against Dad during this period, Jack Hamlin, who was interviewed in the video. Jack said, "Mr. Ed defeated me in every game I was playing or managing against him except one." Bramer came to me after that game and said, "Jack, you outfoxed me." Jack went on to say, "This was a great compliment coming from the greatest manager ever of fast-pitch softball." Now, Ned stole my thunder here because honest to goodness, this is the next line I had in here. Something said, "Introduce Jack Hamlin, have him stand up and let the crowd know that he has celebrated his 100th birthday." Stand up again, Jack. Dad would thank Bonus Frost for creating the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame, and his friend Jim Ewing for building a wonderful park system, and the folks who recommended him for this honor. He would thank all the sponsors who were willing to let his teams represent them. He would thank the other teams, the umpires, the fans, and all those workers who made the games possible. And he would thank his players and tell you that he had little to do with his team's success, that he only filled out the lineup cards and carried the bats and balls for them. I can guarantee his players would argue otherwise. Pat and I would thank Coach Rowe and Ned Reynolds, who happen to be almost as old as I am, for being Dad's champions on the selection committee. We thank the selection committee as a whole for selecting Dad, and we welcome all our friends and families who came to be part of this celebration. I've got a table full of them over here right now. Come on. Finally, we congratulate the other outstanding inductees on this stage. each of you is so accomplished, and we're honored to share this stage with you for my father. Last spring, on the Springfield softball Facebook page, Louis Bunch, your Louis Bunch, asked, why is Ed Bramer not in the Sports Hall of Fame? We got in touch with Louis and got him to do the research for us, and he organized a binder with more than 250 pages from the Springfield newspaper of coverage of Dad and his teams. Now, mind you, back in that period, the Springfield newspaper was the only media around. Television didn't exist when a lot of this was happening. During softball season, the newspaper covered softball almost daily, and Dad was interviewed nearly every week in the newspaper, and was an important enough softball figure for sports editor Perry Smith to be calling him Springfield's Mr. Softball. We also thank Danny Miles for providing a document he titled The Bramer Legacy. In part, it says, the earliest and perhaps the most influential manager in Springfield's rise to importance at the state, regional, and national level was Ed Bramer. Altogether, his men's and women's clubs amassed 13 state tournament crowns and played in 15 regionals with 2 championships and took 4 trips to world tournaments. Now, Dad's record of success pretty well speaks for itself. We saw that in the video. But Pat and I have been asked, how was it that he was so successful? What gave him the knowledge and leadership ability to lead the teams that dominated fast-pitch softball in Springfield and Missouri for so many years? Now, mind you, we were pretty young to see what we were, so we studied this for a while. What we do know is that Dad was a passionate student, a teacher of the game, a good coach, if you will. He knew what he was doing, and he could teach the players what he wanted them to do. He recognized strengths and weaknesses in teams and players. He knew how to take advantage of weaknesses in other teams and how to use the strengths of his own team to his advantage. He developed a strategy for winning fast-pitch games. He knew, obviously, that you won games with good pitching, defense, and speed. Scoring against really good pitchers was difficult, and anybody that played really high-level fast-pitch softball understands that. He believed you used small ball, bunting, base stealing, and getting a hit here and there to score, and then you relied on your pitching and defense to limit run production by the other team. Dad's opinion about this was proved by an experience that he had in the 1946 national tournament. In a newspaper interview in 1951, Dad was asked who was the best pitcher his team had ever faced. His answer was Jim Chambers. In 1946, Dad's team, the Knights of Columbus, won the city, district, state, and regional tournaments, qualifying to play in the national tournament. At the national tournament, the Knights played a game that made it into Ripley's, believe it or not. Jim Chambers pitched for Chicago in this tournament, and the Knights, and they were playing Dad's team. The Knights scored 1 run early in the game and held the match scoreless until they tied the score in the bottom of the 7th inning. Chicago scored in the 7th. The game went on for 12 more innings before Chicago scored a run to defeat the Knights. Chambers had pitched the entire 19 innings and had 40 strikeouts in the process. Now, that sounds like that's a downer for my dad, because it was, I'm sure. But what it proved, his team had come within 1 inning of beating the team that was to come in second in that national tournament and to defeating the pitcher that was voted most valuable player in that tournament. That proved that it was no fluke that his team was playing in the national tournament. Even in losing, they were world class. Dad also knew the type of players he needed, players who were playing for the love of the game and were willing to put their personal egos and agendas second to being part of a winning team. His first teams consisted of those types of players, and these players went on to serve as examples for future players. Many of them played their entire careers for Dad. Dad was able to convince them that by using their individual talents as part of the team made the team stronger than the sum of its parts. He saw his role as coach to be making decisions and moves from the sidelines that made the team even stronger. His teams, at the various levels that he had, because he had fast-pitch men, fast-pitch women, Legion Baseball, and Little League, his teams won 90% of the games they played, and probably half of the ones they lost were in postseason play in the tournaments. The success that his teams achieved proved that Dad knew how to play the game, and his strategy was right on. To quote LaRue Savage, who played second base on Dad's championship teams and was All-American at the national tournaments, "I really appreciated all the honors that came our way in softball, but I can't say enough about the late Ed Bramer. He was certainly a wonderful person, as well as a very fine manager and leader. He kept us together, solved all the problems that needed to be solved, loved the sport, and loved all his players. He was a great person." And then in the latter part of the 50s, Dad had the opportunity to see if his strategy would be successful in coaching women's teams. The result was that his women's teams won 5 consecutive state championships from 1955 to 1959. Now, Dad was a pioneer in this area, as this was before women's sports, including women's team sports, were widely accepted. Darlene Anderson, who is in our crowd out here somewhere, Darlene wrote in the letter she wrote recommending Dad, "I met Ed Bramer 70 years ago, but he remains vivid in my memory because of his knowledge and selflessness in coaching my favorite sport of softball. His men's team seemed to only know how to win. Our women's team soon adopted that attitude. He seemed not to make a difference in gender. He did not think in terms of men or women. He regarded us all as athletes and individual persons." Now, with all the accomplishments Dad had, Pat and I came across 2 different things that we believe Dad would have been most proud of, and it was the impact he had on the lives of 2 young men. Danny Bishop, who is in the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, who described Dad like this when asked who he would pick out as a teacher who helped him achieve his major league success. He said, "Ed Bramer, my American Legion coach, was a great mentor for me. He taught me the game. When you played for Ed Bramer, it was all business. I loved playing for him. He told me early on that I was going to play professional baseball." And Louis Bunch, who is getting a lot of press in this whole thing today, Louis is sitting over there somewhere. Hello, Louis. In his letter recommending Dad for selection to the Hall of Fame said, "While at my high school baseball practice during the spring of 1966, Ed Bramer took the time to visit with this 17-year-old kid, giving me confidence and encouragement which was sorely needed. His words to me that day are something that I've never forgotten. To the man I knew as Mr. Bramer, I say thank you." Pat and I believe that the key to Dad's success comes down to these facts. He was truly passionate about the sport, he loved his players, and they loved him. In closing, I have to give one final thank you to my brother Pat, who made all of this happen. If he hadn't pushed over all the buttons, I wouldn't be standing up here tonight. And I love him for it, because what we've done for the family and for Dad is just a wonderful thing, and we want to accept this for him. Thank you, Ned.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Now, how about if the Bramer family and supporters, if you will, all stand up? And how about all of you who played softball at one time in the area and competitively? Everybody, come on, stand up, because the Bramer family is primarily responsible for all of that. Well done, gang. Very well done. Bramer brothers, well done, sir. The year was 1986, and the Missouri State Football Bears had a new coach on hand. His name was Jesse Branch, and at the start of the season, Jesse said, "Now, boys, we're not going to be very good this year. We're going to struggle a little bit." Well, of course, that is coach speak. Art Haynes and I were doing the games at that particular juncture, and in 1986, the Bears opened the season at Illinois State. At the end of the first quarter, 16-0, Illinois State led. At halftime, 16-0, Illinois State led. Art and I looked at each other, and Coach is right, this is going to be a long year. Somehow, some way, the Bears came back to win that game 17-16 in a terrific comeback. Chris Pottis kicked a field goal. Coach Branch came up in the booth. Coach, this is great. My gosh, we may be headed for a national championship. You know, don't get used to it, boys. We ain't going to win very many more. And they did win 2 more after that. It was 3 and 7. But incrementally, things got a whole lot better. If you will look at the screens, here is Jesse Branch, folks.
Not all Springfield area sports Hall of Famers stories begin in or around Springfield. Most of our next inductee's athletic career was fashioned in the state of Arkansas. But then Jesse Branch had a big impact on the Springfield sports scene in 9 seasons as the head coach of the Missouri State University football Bears. Branch came to Springfield in 1986 from the University of Arkansas's gridiron staff, and his Bears went 55, 44, and 1 in 100 collegiate games. That made Branch the 3rd winningest coach in Missouri State football history. Taking over the program in what was Missouri State's 2nd season as a member of the Missouri Valley Football Conference, he guided the Bears to a 500 season in just his 3rd year, and followed that with 2 of the most memorable seasons in Missouri State football history. The 1989 Bears opened up the year 6-0, then lost at Western Kentucky and Eastern Illinois and finished the regular season with a 9-2 record, with the Bears' first Division I conference title. Reaching the NCAA FCS playoffs, the Bears nipped Maine by a final of 38-35 in the first round of the playoffs before dropping a 55-25 decision at Stephen F. Austin for a final record of 10-3 that year. The 1990 Bears opened the season with their first ever win against an FBS school as they won at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. The Bears went on to share the league title with Northern Iowa and dropped a 41-35 outing at home against Idaho in the first round of the NCAA playoffs to close the year at 9-3. It would be the last trip by the Bears to the NCAA playoffs for 30 years.
Well, he is the 3rd winningest coach in school history. Had no prior connection to Missouri State, but he was looking for a chance to run his own program. And he came in here and believed in himself, and the players believed in him, and he got it done with those 2 championships and playoff appearances. So I think that and the just the level of success that he had, taking the program where it was, and obviously after he left, we didn't have a lot of success for a long time. So his period of 9 years coaching the Bears really stands out with its excellence, and that has stood the test of time.
Branch was named the 1989 and 1990 Bruce Craddock Missouri Valley Football Conference Coach of the Year. The Bears fashioned 3 more winning seasons before Branch stepped aside in 1994. He closed his coaching career with 4 seasons as head coach at Henderson State in Arkansas. But tonight, he takes his rightful place alongside other great Bears coaches and players of the past. Please welcome the newest member of the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame, Coach Jesse Branch.
To read for 2 reasons. First, I hope reading my remarks will keep me from getting too emotional. And second, you know how football coaches are. They just love to talk. Anyway, let me begin by congratulating the other inductees, and I know it means as much to them as it does to me. And a huge thank you to the selection committee for believing that I am worthy of this honor. In any award like this, there are many people who have impacted your life and helped you get here. My big brother is one of them. He is the one who taught me to read under a single light bulb hanging from the center of our bedroom in Sulphur Springs, Arkansas. I know most of y'all know where that is. Of course, it was a comic book, but it was reading. And I also looked up to him for his athletic abilities, and my goal was to someday beat him at something. Jumping, shooting, throwing, anything, but that day still has never come. I learned a lot from him about hard work. Thank you to Mr. Turner, my 8th grade bus driver, who asked me, "Are you going to play football next year?" And I said, "No way. I'm not going to play that game." And he said, it's a crying shame because you're plenty big enough. And the rest is history because I fell in love with football. I mean, it was a great motivation to me from a bus driver. As a player at Arkansas, I knew I wanted to coach football. Then after having that opportunity at Mississippi State, Kansas State, the University of Oregon, the University of Arkansas, I knew I wanted to be a head football coach. I owe a debt of gratitude to Missouri State University, to SMS, then SMS, for their vote of confidence that I would do the job in January of 1986. President Marshall Gordon, Bill Barkley, and the Board of Regents, and of course, Athletic Director Bill Rowe. And a shout out goes to my #1 fan, Bob Price, who couldn't join us tonight because of health reasons. You never do your job thinking that there's a Hall of Fame in the future. You do it because that is what you love doing. Football is the ultimate team sport. There are so many who worked tirelessly to make this award happen. But I'm so afraid that if I tried to call all their names, I'd miss someone. I had a great group of young coaches who worked from dawn till exhaustion, and a bunch of players who were great young men and believed in what we were trying to do. They worked hard and didn't care who got the credit. The trainers, the strength coaches, my secretary, and our academic guru, Joe Bell Harper. The TV and radio, Ned and Art. You don't win these awards without players, coaches, administrators, staff, fans, and donors who back you 100%. We were all in it together, and it was all of them who paved my way to here tonight. Something else that always contributes to these kinds of awards, mamas and daddies who entrust their sons for us for what will be the next 4 or 5 years of their lives. That is the huge gift. I'll never forget our very first game. That's already been mentioned a couple of times tonight. In 1986, was on the road against Illinois State at Normal, Illinois. We were down 16-0 at half and won 17-16 with a fourth quarter field goal by Chris Spottis, a freshman walk-on who came on the team the week of the game. I knew then that we had the right guys. They showed me they were willing to hang in there and not give up. It's written that a team is a group of people who go out of their way to make each other look good. We were a team. We wanted to be the best we could be. Our teammates, our school, our administration, and our community. It took all of us to get it done. I was surrounded with people who was determination at heart. A sidebar, some of the coaches roomed together on the road to save money since there wasn't much paid very much. And several met their wives while coaching for me and are still married to them today. My sons, Job and John, are both, along with a niece and her husband, Sandy and Daryl Lace, they're in Kelly Lace. I talked to Joe Bell and all those people to sit here at the table with me tonight. I appreciate that very much. Thanks to Carol Noble and the late George Beckett for housing our coaches free of charge when we recruited Kansas City and St. Louis. I never had to pay for a hotel bill. That was pretty good. Many of our players and coaches are still coaching ball, which made it impossible for them to be here tonight. But their calls, emails, texts, and will be cherished forever. In fact, DeAndre Smith, the All-American quarterback on that team in 1990, his son is coaching his son at Texas Tech now. I'm very proud of that. Thank you to all who are here to share with this special day for me. It means a lot. I'll close with this. Coming to Missouri State University is a decision that not only impacted my professional career, but it also changed my personal life forever. Never did I imagine getting to coach with both my sons in 1989 and 90. I left here with the lifelong friendships, many of which are in this room. And the best of all, I met and married my best friend and the love of my life, Leanne. Yep, there you go. Never did I dream of being inducted into the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame, a place very near and dear to me, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for its special honor. Thank you.
Now, folks, while the picture's being taken, all those who are here for Jesse Branch, family, friends, all Bears, come on, everybody stand up here and give that to Jesse. These were great teams, gang. Nice going, Jess. Thank you, sir. We in this area, as you all know, have produced any number of great basketball teams and great players dating back many, many, many decades. But certainly among them is the Springfield Kickapoo program of the early 2000s, a state championship team with great athletes led by the gentleman you're about to meet. He had not only at Kickapoo, but at Creighton University, and now decades, well, actually about a decade and a half, which doesn't seem possible because Anthony's only a kid, but in playing at the top level, not only in this country, but around the world. The man has achieved basketball legacy. Here is, folks, Anthony Tolliver. If you will, look at the screens, please.
Few individuals have had as long of a basketball career and one as impactful as our next inductee. Anthony Tolliver had an outstanding basketball career at Springfield Kickapoo High School, capping it off on a Chiefs team that was 30-1 and captured the 5A Missouri State title his senior year. Kickapoo was ranked 12th nationally in the year-end USA Today poll, and Tolliver averaged 15.2 points and 6.5 rebounds for the season. He was named to all-state honors by the Missouri Basketball Coaches Association and also the State Sports Writers and Sportscasters Group, and was picked for 3 all-tournament teams during the season for the Chiefs. Kickapoo was 26-2 in Tolliver's junior year. Moving on to Creighton University, he was a 3-year starter for the Blue Jays in a career covering 124 games. He scored 1,004 points and grabbed 603 rebounds, and was a standout on a Blue Jay team which captured the Missouri Valley Conference tournament title and advanced to the NCAA tournament in 2005 to face West Virginia and 2007 against Nevada. CU also played in the NIT in 2004 and 2006. He gained MVC All-Conference honors twice and co-SIDA Academic All-American honors while at CU. After his 2007 graduation from Creighton, he began a lengthy career in the NBA, which has spanned 13 seasons and has seen him play for 11 different teams. He spent his rookie season with the San Antonio Spurs and has subsequently played for the Trailblazers, Warriors, Timberwolves, Hawks, Hornets, Suns, Pistons, Kings, Grizzlies, and the Philadelphia 76ers. He has played in over 700 NBA games, scored more than 4,400 points, and has grabbed more than 2,400 rebounds while playing on 4 clubs which have reached the NBA playoffs.
Well, he is a great player, but he's even a better person, a great parent, husband, family man. He carried a Bible with him to the visit at Creighton and the recruiting trips. Lynn Gordy, assistant coach at Creighton, was like, what a young man you have in your program. We've never had one bring a Bible with him on a recruiting trip. I'm sure that his teammates, former coaches, teachers, fans, myself in Springfield are tremendously proud of Anthony, and no one is more deserving to be inducted into the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame.
Please welcome to the Springfield Area Sports Hall of Fame, Anthony Tolliver.
Thank you. So Ned, you talked about me being so young. How do I have the least amount of hair up here? That's pretty crazy. First of all, yeah, thank you guys. Thank you all for having me here. Really quick, I want to recognize all of my family and my friends and everybody that has been a part of my journey. So if you know me personally, please stand up. All right, you can sit down. No, I just wanted to do that because honestly, it's to be able to do something like this, get into a Hall of Fame. That's not something you can do by yourself, and I just wanted to recognize everybody here that's been a part of my journey. So I will do some specific stuff, but just wanted to recognize all of you. When I walked into the room, I got a chance to see quite a few people that I haven't seen in a really long time. So, but I do want to, I have a few thank yous I want to throw out there. First of all, I got to thank God for this opportunity, for me to be here, for all of us to be here. Got to thank God for that. And secondly, someone who's up there with God, my mom, and wasn't supposed to do that. She's the reason why I'm here. And my dad, who's here, thank you so much. My wife, thank you. You're amazing. To be able to do what I do for a living, or what I've been doing for the last 14 years, couldn't have done it without my best friend and without my wife. So there's a reason why I was able to do it for as long as I did. She retired last year. I didn't, but she retired from basketball. So that pretty much told me that I was pretty close to being done. And, my family, my kids, all four of my kids are here right now somewhere under the table, on the chair, in somebody else's lap, in coloring. So my wife told me that this is not a place for kids. I was like, well, they're coming, so got to figure it out. So thank you for allowing me to bring them. And while I'm on the subject of my kids, today is somebody's birthday. My daughter Lennox turned 6 today. Should we sing happy birthday? No, I'm joking. And also, my stepmom, I'm not saying no ages. Her birthday this week, and then also my wonderful, lovely sister is her birthday this week as well. So big week. So I'm very humbled to be up here and being recognized during their week. It's supposed to be their time, but I'm just humbled to have the opportunity to be recognized. So the rest of my family, love you guys all. You know what time it is. Yeah, and friends, like I said, friends and teammates. Several of you guys are here. Thank you guys so much for coming through, and appreciate you guys for pushing me daily. Growing up, all my high school teammates and AAU teammates, and I even got a college teammate back there, Creighton, stand up, you know what I'm saying? So definitely appreciate you guys so much. And who else we got here? Coaches. I'll start kind of, the Springfield ties. Obviously, Roy Green, who's also a Springfield sports area Hall of Famer as well, as he should be. And he was a huge part of, our success in high school. And just want to, honor him. And Denny Hunt and Coach Hogue and all the guys from Kickapoo. Huge part of my success, going through, and they put us in a position to succeed, and we just went out there and made it happen. So, and then Barry Laurie, huge piece of, the foundation that was built in my game and through basketball was that man right there. He really pushed all of us, not just me, but all of us that were on the team to be great. Really just had us just really focus on all the details of the game, and the reason why we were so good growing up and all the way to today was because of the foundation that he laid. So thank you, Barry. And last but not least, he was actually the very first coach to recruit me. Garnell is in the house, and thank you. Appreciate it. I didn't know you could recruit kindergartners, but he did. And I say he recruited me. He recruited me like for real. I didn't know what it was back then, but he was, telling my mom, hey, you got to get him on the court. Hey, he's too tall to be not playing basketball. So thank you for that, getting me started in this game. Appreciate that. And, I'll finish with this. Something that's really become apparent in my life and super important is knowing my role, right? And I want to encourage everybody in this room to, find your role, know your role, and become an expert at your role. And I say that because a lot of people talk about being the best, right? Always, I got to be number one, I got to be the CEO, I have to be everything. And I found a way to be highly successful, reach the highest point in basketball by finding a role and fulfilling it. I was not the best player on the Kickapoo team. Whenever Ned said something about leading the Kickapoo team, I was like, that wasn't me. I was on the team, and I was a really good player, but I was never the best player on the team. But I knew my role. I knew what I was supposed to do, and I went and perfected it, and did the same thing in college. I was not the best player on my college team. So going back throughout my entire life, how do you have a kid who is not the best player on the team, but makes it to the top, right? Makes it to the absolute number one, league in the world. And it's because, oh, what a wonderful baby. She's the best. And the timing, too, just unbelievable. No, I'm joking. Sorry, babe. My bad. No, but getting back to that, it's because I found my role, right? And I perfected it and just worked my tail off and made sure that, no one was going to outwork me and be the best in that particular position, in that role. So I encourage all of you guys, at whatever stage you're at, if you're a kid or if you're an older person, it doesn't matter. Understanding that you don't have to be the best player or you don't have to be the CEO of the business in order to really be successful. And I'm a testament to that, and just wanted to encourage everybody here. So once again, thank you for having me. Thank you for, goodness gracious, I've hit that about 4 times. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inducting me into the Hall of Fame, and God bless you all.
Okay, all the family of Anthony Tolliver and all those who are Kickapoo Chiefs and all those who are basketball fans, come on, stand up while the picture's being taken. I'll tell you, Anthony Tolliver's words, the words that he just expressed are very important to everybody. It's play your role, do what you do best, and do it with honor and pride. However, your daughter is objecting to saying that you're not the best player on the team. Anthony, congratulations. I might, before we have our final induction here, I do want to tell all you folks up here on the stage, we will have the group picture. Where will be Jenny? Right over here? Okay, that'll be after our ceremony. We do have one final. This is our Legacy Award, which we established several years ago. And this year, the Legacy Award is the Missouri State University basketball and actually SMS basketball teams of the early 1950s, which were 2-time NAIA national champions back-to-back, and a third-place team in 1954. Jerry Anderson, who was the most valuable player of the tournament, could not be here tonight. So as a result, we're going to have the video coming up, and then Coach Bill Rowe will be up here, and we'll talk a little bit about that team, after which we will have a little bit of a little get-together of sorts. But if you will, let's look at the screen now, and this is the SMS Legacy team from the early 1950s. For a week in each of the months of March in 1952, 53, and 1954, the highway from the campus of Southwest Missouri State College in Springfield, 180 miles north to Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City, was governed by the SMS basketball Bears and their fans. In those 3 years, the Bears owned the 32-team NAIA National Tournament with a record of 14-1 and 2 NAIA championships and 1 national third-place finish. Coached by Bob Vanatta in 1952 and 53, and by Eddie Matthews in 1954, the Bears roared to the MIAA championship each year and captured the NAIA District 16 playoff series against the MCAU champion to reach the NAIA. The Bears of 1951-52 scored a clean sweep in Kansas City, knocking off Chadron State, Indiana State, Morningside, Texas State, and a championship game victory over Murray State to close out the season with a 27-5 record. The Bears stayed around in Kansas City for an exhibition game against NCAA champion Kansas. The 1952-53 club beat Gonzaga, Stetson, Nebraska Wesleyan, Indiana State, and Hamlin in a 6-day run, closing the season at 24-4. In 1953-54, SMS topped East Tennessee, Gustavus Adolphus, and East Texas State lost to Western Illinois in the semifinals and came back to beat Arkansas Tech in the third-place game to cap the year at 22-7. Bears guard Jerry Anderson was the national tournament most valuable player in both 1953 and again in 54, in the midst of a deep and talented group led by Bill Thomas, Bill Lee, Forrest Hamilton, Fred Stevens, Jim Julian, Don Duckworth, Bill Price, Jerry Lumpy, Don Anilat, Art Helms, Ray Birdsong, Larry Gibney, John Grimm, and Jack Trogdon.
I know this, they have a bond between them that exists to this day. There's only 5 of them, plus their manager, Jim Mulder, that are still with us and alive today. But they had a togetherness, a never give up attitude, which is proven by certainly the effort they gave in those 3 tournaments, that they refused to just lay down if something went wrong. They did not give up. And believe me, they've set the goals for their families, for many of the teams here, the opportunities to meet and visit with them, my own visits with them, to show me that a great attitude, not a loser's attitude, but one that said we're not giving up till the games are over.
This was the forerunner to Bears greatness in years to come. Era of Excellence, 52 through 54, Missouri State men's basketball. Bill Rowe, if you will, come on up here for a second. We'll talk a little bit more about the basketball program. And it was, folks, it was the establishing of a legacy in this area of basketball excellence. I don't think there's any masking the fact that that sport has indeed governed much of our lives, and with championship levels. No, we don't win every single year, but the fact that we have so many area teams playing, all of the schools, all of the colleges, it is the sport for everyone. And what's really come on is the ladies' sports in this area as well, ladies' basketball. Bill, you, we were kids back then when that era of excellence happened with the Bears program, but you remember it very well through the old days, the radio broadcast.
We were in one radio home. My dad listened to the games, and I didn't really know personnel at all, and I'd even known some of the ones in a few teams before us, which meant I had to be in grade school because it was junior high when these 3 teams played. But I think if I could say one thing about, I've tried to tell all teams we've had, the school was around since 1905, but to start the athletic prominence that they've been able to hold and prestige, it was really started with these 3 teams. 2 national championships, tough to get, as you well know. The third place, Coach Matthews came right in, took some of the players that remained and added some to them. But really 3 great teams, but I've told every sport we have that you got to look back where we came from and who really got the ball rolling. But 2 national championships. At that time, the NAIA tournaments were big deals in Kansas City. I think there were 32 team tournaments in Municipal Auditorium that we played in as recent 10 years ago. But big crowds all the time, but great players. Went on to the NBA, did things that, some of the guys do in the NCAA tournaments now, but it was not just a small potatoes type tournament. It was really a big deal.
And the fans responded in kind. We made the little remarks there that they packed the highway all the way to Kansas City, and it was a big deal that did lay the foundation for winning basketball here. And we had Anthony up here to talk about it, his state championship teams. Hey, that was the forerunner for all of them.
It really was. You could just talk about all the history we've had. I think about where these players were from. I know of the 5 that remain, 2 were from the greater St. Louis area. 1 was from Marshfield. 1 was from Buffalo. And 1 was from Seymour. That's where those 5 that remain, plus Jim Mulder from Camdenton. So it really was the forerunner to a lot of things that people really look forward to. We've had blue and gold tournaments, all the history that goes there, now the Bass Pro tournaments. But of every team we have, you got to remember who really started the athletic prominence, and it's these 3 teams.
Bill Rowe, folks, give him a big round of applause, if you will. Thanks, Coach. That is, folks, going to conclude our inductions tonight. But before we do so, I've got the list of individuals who have been the successful bidders, and Tom Mast and his wife will be out there, and all the prizes and so forth that you were won. Here are the list of names. We'll just do the surnames. Dills, Herman, Hopper, Lovelady, McCormick, Miller, that's Lynn Miller, Pierce, Reeser, Rowe, Scott, Simpson, Lamb, I think it's supposed to be, SLAMB, maybe, Jeff Smith, Darrell Smith, Snodgrass, West, White, and Woody. They are all the successful bidders on our silent auction, and everything will be distributed out in the main lobby. Gang, if you will, all of the inductees gather over here. We're going to have the group picture. We do thank you very much. Now, folks, as you leave, I want to call your attention. You don't have to linger, of course, but call your attention to the screens, because we're going to show the real reason why we are here tonight, and that is the groups that are going to receive the proceeds from tonight's event and do every year. It's a very important project, and we will be continuing it in 2022 with, I hope, just 1 induction. We don't want to go through 2 of them again. No more COVID. Get that virus out of here quick. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much for your patronage tonight. It is most appreciated. We hope you've had a good time. And whatever you do, please drive safely on the way home. Thank you, folks, and do have a good evening.